So all I can do is just this. You just hop, throw it around, as easy as this. So how can you put this line around without jumping off the boat? So I'm gonna do a lasso. It's a great technique that everybody should use. The first thing is, of course, we need to connect this to the cleat. We're using this technique when you always tie a rope to the cleat. I'll explain later why. Then you do very nice loops. Like the nicer, the better. This is a very short rope, so you cannot really throw it away. But with the, you have to hold this end, of course. And I put this on half. Okay? Then I'm gonna step here because it's gonna be closer. And then I have to throw it over. So, like we're docking, there's nobody to help us. And I don't want to step off the boat or jump because it's dangerous. So all I can do is just this. You just hop, throw it around, as easy as this. See, you pull it, and then you put it back on the cleat. Okay? Now I'm gonna explain you why I always, not always, but many times I tie the rope to the cleat. So in case, let's say we're now leaving, and we have a very small ring there. So not this big one, but very small ring. And now, of course, we're leaving. So I'm gonna pull this part, because I wanna get a rope, of course, it's easy. Now it gets stuck there because there's a small ring for every reason. Now, if I wanna, and that would be, of course, tension, right? Because the boat would be leaving, so suddenly we're like stuck. Now, if you have a bowline here, you won't be able to untie it. But if you did this, you see, it's very easy to release, let it go, the rope is gonna stay there, you're gonna go out and come later for the rope. So this is like the trick that can save your life, and it's really useful. Like, not many people do it, but you should practice this. So these Antal winches, for some reason, always get this trouble. You see how it's here? If we stop a little bit, like these just get very close, and I've experienced this with Antal. Maybe I don't know how to use it, but it always happens with these Antal winches. Maybe we have to read the manual. So we're now lifting Code Zero up. So we have one person winching, another person is making sure that it doesn't twist, because if you twist, it's a double halyard, so you don't want to get a twist. So he's making sure that the sail is not twisting. And also, you can get quickly stuck to something and you would break, so make sure it goes very nicely up. The Code Zero here, so the blue line is the furling line, and then it's attached to the pinon, which is this thing holding it out. And the Code Zero is great because it just increases the surface area of the sails, and you can go like all the directions except sharp upwind, and it's really nice. This one is 100 square meters, so it gives much more power. So we're almost up there. We have a great Greek salad and everything waiting because nobody's hungry. We have this brand new Code Zero up, which was made by the Supreme Sails, and it's really supreme. Just look at this. It's 100 square meter sail, Code Zero. It's beautiful, the color is beautiful, the shape is beautiful. You see, it just stands, it has the shape, it looks like it should. So this sail was made for us by the Supreme Sails. This is their badge, and they've done amazing job. So material of this sail is much lighter than this one, but it's not too light, so it's kind of still bulletproof. I just think they nailed the combination really well. So most importantly, we have a really good speed and really low winds. So we're doing 5 knots over ground, and there's only 9 knots of true wind speed. And we're going downwind, so the apparent wind speed is actually only 6.5, which is nothing. And we're doing 5 knots, and whoever knows catamarans knows that this is like a crazy good speed for these conditions. If we take a look at the angles, so you can see the wind is coming from here. we're actually kind of lucky with apparent wind coming from here, from like a side, which actually gives us, you know, really good conditions. So if the apparent wind is from here, we wouldn't be so fast, but now coming from here, it really gives us this extra power. Now just look at this, 6 knots of apparent wind speed and doing 5.2. And it's all because of this great sail with a great shape. So if we would only have now the normal genoa, which is probably around 40 square meters, we would like no way be doing such a nice speed. But because this sail has 100 square meters, which is like a huge difference, we're able to sail in this light winds in Croatia. And that's why I keep saying code zero, code zero. And it does matter, you know, what kind of code zero. They're not all the same, so you can have different materials. If it's too fragile, you know, you're gonna destroy it. If it's too heavy, it's gonna be too heavy, you know, like banging left and right. So it has to be just right, and this one is really nailed really well. And most importantly, the material the Supreme sails used is very, let's say, durable. It's not any like fancy laminate, but it's actually kind of, you see, you can kind of bend it. It's very durable. You see, you know, it's like kind of soft, but it's not soft. It's just like a beautiful material, and that's what you want to have. You don't want to have any fancy, you know, laminated things that breaks really quickly. And I can tell you, this is really fun right now. Like, there's no wind, and we're actually sailing. We don't have to use engines. Like, this is really, really, really fun. So all of these cruising catamarans, if you don't have a code zero, they are mostly underpowered, unless you have at least 15 or 20 knots of wind speed. It's like what the Caribbean would get. Now here in Croatia, we mostly get lower winds. So without a code zero, you're not going to be able to sail much.
Don't we have the right of way to do
So we have turned 40 degrees more upwind, and you can notice that our speed really picked up. So we also had to tension more the code zero, because obviously we are sailing now more upwind. And this is really good. Like we're actually sailing right now. Like this is actually like we're moving. And it's all thanks to having a code zero, because without the code zero we would be just mostly floating, not really sailing. And just look at this beauty. And the main. And now let's check the speed. So the true wind speed is still the same as before. Actually, it went up a little bit. So now we have a true wind speed of 9.5 knots. Apparent wind is bigger because we went 30 degrees upwind. So we are like having more wind. It's just, you know, physics. Like our speed went from 5 to 6.6 because we have more apparent wind speed. And if we take a look here, you can see because we went more upwind, the apparent wind is also more from the front. And like it's giving us now, like let's say this would be like really good conditions right now, like the optimum to go the fastest. And you can see only 9.5 knots of true wind speed, and we're doing 6.5. And this is like a really good cruising speed for this catamaran. So without the code zero, we would need probably at least like 14-15 knots of wind to move like this. And right now, if we had only the small, this self-tacking jib, we would be going really slowly. So it does make a huge difference. So that's why you really want to have this sail. We are now sailing even more upwind, so you can see the shape, it's like pretty tight in. So, you know, also when you buy a code zero, so it's the size, it's the material, and it's the shape, you know, how much upwind you can go. If it's gonna be too deep, then you're not gonna be able, you know, to go upwind. So right now, this is not maximum, but it's like, you know, pretty much upwind. So let's see what the instruments are gonna say. We did pick up some speed, I think, and it feels really good. So let's check the instruments. So we'll see. So we're doing now 6.7, so we are a little bit faster, and the apparent wind angle increased. The trim speed is similar, but because we're going more upwind, we're producing wind, so we have more wind than that actually is. Looking at the angles, you can see trim speed is from here, the apparent, which is important, and so the apparent wind angle is, you can see here, it's 60. So we're sailing 60 degrees apparent wind angle. That's important information. So this is like kind of upwind, you know, and maybe we could push it even more. So let's give it a try. So we'll go 10 more. Well, it's still pretty good. Maybe we can tension it a little bit more. Okay, this seems like, you see, pretty tension, and now let's push it upwind maximum. So right now we have 52 apparent wind angle. Let's go a little bit more. The sail is still kind of holding, and this is really upwind already. But now we have to adjust the mainsail also. We go like this, so we're moving the sail for more upwind sailing. So now we have apparent wind angle of 50 degrees, which is, you know, it's good, it's upwind. Doing 6.5, the speed of course drops because we're going kind of upwind. The speed is here, now we can see, so the apparent wind angle. And the sail is, well, it's maybe, it's on the edge, but it's still good. So you can easily go with this sail 50 apparent wind angle, which is like what you want to have, right? You're never going to be able to go as sharp upwind as with a normal Genoa, because Code Zero is not meant for that. And you can see on the front edge, it's already kind of, you know, closing. It's still okay. It's on the edge, but it's working beautifully. So 50 degrees apparent wind angle is easily for this sail. Now, if you're just going to order Code Zero and somebody makes it too deep, you won't be able to reach this angle, so it matters a lot. We're back to my favorite restaurant, and this is how it looks. This is Fuji Arsenal. This is like the best pasta we ever had. Here's our best grill master chef and the best grill in Croatia.
Well, thank you.
It's nice to be back here.
Nice to see you always.
The best chef deboning it for us. So this is the tuna. It's fresh tuna. This is it's a fish. And it's a fish. And this is the Swiss chard with tomatoes, which is kind of Croatian food. It's really good and healthy. Scorpion fish. And there's prawns. And this is why you need a big table in this restaurant, because you're gonna get loads of good stuff. So now we are gonna raise the mainsail. We have around 70 knots of true wind speed. So we want to point directly upwind. And now we have two ropes. To lift up the mainsail, you have to use this. This is a halyard, and pulling this is gonna lift the sail up. Now we have a rope that helps us put the sail down, which is a very thin rope here. So we have to release this one so that later it's gonna help us pull the sail down. Also, we have a main sheet, which wants to be kind of loose now. And all these ropes here, these are just the reefs kind of hanging. But once we leave the sails, they're gonna be, you know, up. They could get hooked there, so this is the dangerous spot. You keep an eye on there. So now we're going straight upwind, and we're gonna start pulling the main halyard, is the red rope, which is gonna pull the sail up. Now, we have to be careful because all these gray lines called the lazy jack, the sail, the buttons could get hooked. So that's what we have to watch. So we're gonna engage wind autopilot to 5 degrees. So the autopilot is gonna keep an angle upwind, actually 5 degrees off. Why 5 degrees? Because these 5 degrees are gonna help us to put the sail on this side of the boom lift. Now the boom lift is the rope behind that's keeping the boom from falling down to the roof. And we don't want to get the sail from that side because it's not going to work up there, it's going to be crisscrossed. So that's why if we put 5 degrees wind from this side, the sail is just going to go more on this side. Everything is easier, you'll see. So we've set autopilot, we want to have 5 degrees of true wind. So you can see this is what actually is, so now he's correcting. And how much speed? You must have enough speed. The more the wind, the more speed. Because if there's no speed, the autopilot cannot handle, right? You need enough speed so the rudders are working and controlling the boat. So we have now increased the RPM to 1,450 and we have 80 knots of true wind speed, which should give us enough control.
There we are.
So you start lifting the sail just by hand until you get the first 3 buttons through the lazy jack, because that's where it can get hooked. Now, doing it by hand is just the best way. And then once you cannot do it anymore, then you start using the electric winch or the handle. So you can see this button is kind of getting between the lazy jack. So you have to find the timing and to get it through, not to hook it. Okay, we're good this time. Once you have the first 3 buttons through, you can start using the electric winch. And you have to put many donuts around. One more. And self-tacking. And now we're gonna use buttons. So now we're using electric winch, and I just noticed one thing here. So there is an issue, except this one. There's another issue. Take a look there. Do you see the pulley? Well, do something, it's not okay, figure it out. Do you see the pulley? It's not okay, figure it out. It's the
red one.
It's the one you're using. Okay, so these pulleys tend to hook, so make sure whatever you're doing, you're watching. So now we keep going up. Everything looks good for now. And the guy who's lifting up has to observe everything. Has to have full control whatever he's doing. And usually people forget to look forward, and then you crash into something, into the buoy or wherever. So that's why we have one person who should be looking forward all the time, because he's obviously not paying attention to the surrounding, just to the sail. So if you're alone, don't forget to look around and not catch anything. Now there is a typical problem up. So the boom lift is crossing the sail. So the sail has to go from this side. So now we have to lower down the sail. You have to go down and then put the sail from this side of the boom lift. If you keep going up now, you're gonna break something. So now we are releasing the halyard because we have to go down with the sail to unhook it and then to keep going up.
No, the first one's okay. The second one is on the wrong side. So it's got to come down. Down. Down a bit more.
So we're still going down, it's still hooked. A little bit more. Okay, now we have it. So now we have to lift the sail at the moment when the sail is here. Now the waves are banging it here and there. So you just have to wait for the right moment and then lift it. So now we're lifting the sail. Now we shouldn't have much more problems. Another phase is that these reefs sometimes get hooked around the boom. So you have to watch this. And then we have to watch not to tension it too much. Okay, so now slowly, slowly, slowly. And now go little by little, slow speed, the number 2. This winch has 2 speeds. And now we go one by one, which means press, stop. Okay, let's keep going very gently, little by little. Now stop, stop, stop. We said the main sheet has to be released. Is it released? It's not. The main sheet is tensioned, so you cannot tension the main halyard without releasing the main sheet. So we're opening the stopper. Yeah, just let it go a lot, just put it off all the way.
All the way?
Yeah, all the way. Okay, and now we can tension little by little to get a right tension. So what is the right tension? Well, it's just the right one. That's hard to explain. A little more. A little more. Yeah. So the stronger the wind, the more you want to tension this. A little more. And one more. Okay, that's it. You have to close the stopper now. And we close the main sheet stopper. Okay? And now we're gonna turn 40 degrees to our port. We're now turning so that we can start sailing. We still have the engines up, but we just don't want the sail to bang, right? So we're just gonna start slowly sailing. Okay, we're gonna go another 20. So we're going another 20 off, so we're like 60 degrees off the wind. We're still having the engines on. You can see the sail has a nice shape. Everything is okay, so now it's time to open the genoa. So we have a code 0 and the genoa. There's a lot of wind, so we're gonna open the genoa. To open the genoa, you have to release this rope. You see, this is furling it. When you pull this rope, it furls the sail. So you have to release this rope and pull this rope to be able to open the sail.
So I'm going to release the black line.
Yes, the black line we release and we pull the sheet of the genoa.
Okay.
Sorry?
I should be here watching.
There should always be a person watching where you go, of course. But we can slow down. So let's put in a gear now, just in a gear.
Where's this?
It's here, I'm finding it.
Okay.
This is the general here, right?
Exactly.
Oh, it's right there.
So when you say release, you just release?
Of course not.
No, you got to tension it.
First, you have to
Yeah,
make sure
of
that
course,
this
of course.
is going to run nicely.
What's the tension in this line?
So the thing is, when you're going to be opening the genoa
Yeah.
with the sheet,
So it's doing the same thing as
The
the blue line
s-
was doing for the code 0?
yes, the sail is going to catch and want to force open it. Now,
I rolled it back.
no, you have a winch for this. See?
Okay.
You're going to put it here.
Right, got it. Yeah, I got it.
Now, how much? Well, enough to prevent.
But
Okay.
just manually.
Yes, just by hands.
I'll
Now,
try 3.
now we
See how
have
it
to
goes.
set to find the sheet. So which rope would that be?
Well, the sheet.
So
is
the Genoa sheet. Which rope is it?
It's
Show me here. Okay. So we're gonna put it on that winch.
Okay.
Now we're gonna very gently remove this one
Oh, you're-
so that the stopper can gently catch the rope. That was like too much. It was like bang.
Yeah, all right.
That was no gentle. Okay, let's put it off. Now it's too late. We already banged it.
Yeah.
Now we put the jeep rope on.
What's this one?
I don't know.
So can you pick this up?
Yeah, that one is.
Are you sure that's not the Genoa?
No, this is the general, the one on the side.
Now this is the Genoa, and the other one is. We'll figure out later what is it.
I need to get this line up. Don't I?
No, no. It's just. It could be like. Why? You can just take it from here. Here's the rope. Okay? And you do this. Yeah?
It's going by hand, obviously, yeah.
Well, you're gonna use a winch for this one, so put a couple of donuts. Yeah, just take the rope first, get it ready. It's all tangled, it's yeah, just we'll need more. And let's make one more donut because there's a lot of wind.
So
That
should
one's
the,
okay.
oh. Should the self-tacker be on the far side?
Okay, so that's a good thing. So somebody was playing with these things. So some people think, so this is the limiter. There's one here and one's here. So people think putting it more in, they're gonna go more upwind. Well, they won't. So you wanna keep these guys here. The key thing is they have to be in this hole. If you keep them here, you haven't done much, you're gonna break everything. It has to be here, stopped in a hole. So we'll do the same here. I put it in a hole. And now it's gonna self-tack.
It's going to self by
That's why it's self-tacking, yeah?
The limiters should always be at the ends?
Sorry?
The limiters should always be at the ends?
Yes, and you never move them. So why the limiter is there?
You don't know.
Yet you can put it all the way together
Yeah.
to prevent this from swinging and breaking somebody's feet like a kid is playing, and then the wind. It's
Just
n-
a safety
you don't use it when sailing. So now wait.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to release this one and pull that one.
Right.
Okay, we have a safety stopper here. Has to be open. Okay, now, if you're gonna keep a lot of tension initially on this one and pulling this one crazy with the electric winch, something is gonna break, right? So here, you have to go really easy, like
Okay.
loose,
Okay.
for the initial couple meters. And then once the wind catches it, then you're actually just gonna, release. The wind will open the sail, and then you follow up with it. So at the beginning, this one is opening the sail, this one is very loose,
Yeah.
but then this one is controlling the opening.
It opens up once the wind.
Exactly, because the wind is opening the sail, and this one is just following, okay? So you can have two persons doing this, or just one. Make sure these loops are nice. These loops have to be nice.
Oh, they look pretty nice.
Well, they are now, yeah? Okay, so let's go little by little. Make sure this is not loose. You see, this is a lot of pressure. Like even doing like this for the first meters and then adding. Okay? Let's go. You can use the fast speed. Okay, now it's good time to put more donuts here. Otherwise you can get,
I'm starting to get tension, yeah.
yeah, you'll get your hands burned if the wind catches the sail too much. Stop, 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 stop. Now we said this one is following, but this one is opening. So you see, just by releasing, you're opening the sail,
Okay.
and this one is following. It's not pulling, okay? But it's following.
Okay.
You still have to press, but not pull.
and open some more.
I'll open myself.
Ah, this is good. Yeah, so you release a little bit and follow with opening. And we're opening the sail. Ah. Okay, that's enough. Stop, yeah. We have a good shape. Yeah, we'll have to probably put the code 0 down because now there's not tension. See how the code 0 is flapping now. Okay, so once this can be released, you can put it off.
Okay.
Now, because the drum there, if
That
the
closes?
yeah, so if the drum forward, the rope is furled in. If there's no tension, the rope tends to fall off. So that's why you have to close the stopper
Yeah.
and gently pull. There should be always a little bit of tension to prevent the rope from falling off. Okay, let's stop the engines.
Where's the rope?
It's in the
I see
drum
it,
in the
I see it, I
front.
see it.
Let's stop the engines. Go neutral. Okay, stop the engine.
One first.
One by one. And now put the power button. Hold it. Once you're done with this one, then you do another one. Never two at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
You can get confused. Okay, now the power. See, that's exactly. Okay, and the power. Okay, now we're gonna turn kind of downwind You see, because now there's a lot of pressure pushing the mast forward, so the code 0 got kind of loose, right?
So I'm on autopilot. I need to take that.
You're on
20
auto.
degrees left.
Yeah.
So now we can see that the code 0, you see, got more movement because the sails are pushing the mast forward, so it got loose. Now, if there's too much movement, that's not good, especially going upwind. If you sail downwind, it's going to be a little bit better. We have put down the code 0. It is a grazed sail, but this bag is kind of funny. It should be kind of much longer, and yeah, we'll figure out this. We're really doing really well. We're doing around 7 knots, sailing kind of downwind with the main and the genoa. So this is downwind sailing. Actually, the true wind angle is 150 degrees. So this is how the wind is. This is the boat, the wind is like this. And we have a lot of wind. We have 24 knots of wind, which is actually pretty much. And we're doing 7.3 knots, 7.5. And this is really good. This wind's picked up today, huh?
Yeah.
Not expecting. So how did we set the sails? So you want to open the main as much as possible. But now, because this is a catamaran, there's this catch that if you open the sail too much, the sail is gonna touch the shroud. So you can gently touch, you see? It's like almost touching. But now because there is no vang, on the monohull you have a vang which keeps the boom down. Now, we have used the traveler, which is this thing going left and right, and this boat has a really good way of doing it with just this button, and then it moves. You can see it moves here, and this is a really good system. Now, we went all the way out. This rail would be the best if it's longer, but that's what we have. Now, if you wanted to open the sail more, because we're going downwind, you have to release the main sheet. It's this rope. But this rope is also pulling the boom down. So if we release this rope, the boom will go out and up. But up, the sail will open, so you'll get more twist. And we're gonna be on the shrouds immediately. So this is actually the maximum you can open the sail, the main sail on the monohull, which kind of sucks going straight downwind, but for now it's okay because we have like certain angle to the true wind, still going downwind. Now the Genoa, we have this like terrible self-tacking, and just look at this shape. You can see like it's way too much closed. So the upper part is kind of nice, it's open, but like this is funny and this is a joke. So basically you could attach it here to the clit, what I do many times, to make much nicer shape. So the Genoa should be like this, not closed like this, but open. So this is the problem of self-tacking, that it doesn't really work downwind. It works like upwind, but that's it. So that's why I don't like it. So you can see that the boom, you see it's kind of, it could be here on the monohull. On the Catamaran you get it here to the maximum. And then if you turn straight downwind, you can see that the perpendicular area of the sail is very small if you go straight downwind, because like you cannot really do it, with this mainsail. Now the same problem is with the Genoa. If you would be sailing just Genoa downwind, it's a terrible shape, so you would have to attach an extra line to open the Genoa out. Okay? But we're still doing a pretty good speed, but we would be way faster if these sails would be able to be set more. And we're back to one of my favorite places in Croatia. So we just docked down there. There's our boat, kind of tricky anchoring, it's very deep. Look at this beautiful water. And our dinghy is here. We have to go through the passage. And our dinghy is here in this small lagoon, waiting for us. It's just a paradise here. So it's a great place, and you can actually rent a room in this house, stay here. It's very remote. See, solar paneled. A great place to come here. Oh, these are some fancy stones here. Look at this. Wow, I think this is worth anything. It looks like ice. Look, it's ice that doesn't melt. It's really cool. So this is my friend Mirko. He's the mastermind of this place, the best winemaker ever. It's the best wine he does, my favorite wine. So he's the man. He keeps working. All these walls and everything, that's his muscles. There's no machinery, so he's the real man. It's just a great place to come here to spend a few days. You can sleep in these small houses, and all these walls, it's all built by Mirko, stone by stone, through the years. And it's just a paradise here. And all these stones he was building in our boat, waiting for us. And I'm so lucky to know Mirko for many years, and whenever I come here, I can see how he's improving this area. He's building new walls, he now has a garden up there, or he does improvement to this house. So it's really nice to come here. The best wine also deserves the best degustation place. And it's in here. It's in a hidden pirate cave where you can come and taste this wine. Very small quantity, so hard to get. So that's why I say I'm so lucky to know him. It's just the best wine I ever tasted. And this is the wine, well hidden from all the pirates. There's a couple bottles left because it's the beginning of the season. That's lucky. Some special bottles. And Mirko, he just doesn't do just the best wine. He has amazing olive oil.
So this is this year's or?
No, this is.
I just love this wine. This was so good. And the day winds just picked up. So now we're gonna sail this beautiful catamaran. And just look at this place, look at this water. That's a real paradise. It's really cool. We're going back to the boat. Our boat is down here. This is Mirko's boat and this is our inflatable. And we have this Yamaha 20 horsepower. And this is a it's a brand new boat. And so much better than Honda. Like you think Honda is good? No. Yamaha, go for Yamaha, it's way better. And high field, this aluminum bottomed rib, this is really good. Like I just love high field, and this setting with 24 horsepower, you could have even 20 horsepower. It's just like a great boat. A small lagoon, and there's many sea urchins, but sea urchins mean the water is clean. You know, you have to watch when you're going in, but at least you know that the water is really clean. And this is the exit, the hidden exit from the lagoon. So we're gonna drive our dinghy and go out here. What an amazing place this is.
So the apparent wing angle is like 280.
Yeah, apparent wind angle is from here, so this is downwind sailing.
It's 280.
Now we're gonna go sideways, so the wind's from the side. And we're gonna go faster and set the sails for side wind sailing.
So upwind.
Yeah, we're gonna set apparent wind angle to 90 degrees, so that's gonna be the winds from the side. Now we have 131, so we're gonna set this to 90 degrees, which means we need to get 40 degrees there. But now you don't just press, you go gradually because we'll have to adjust the sails accordingly. So let's go 20. Okay. So we are now getting slowly towards 90 degrees. And you can still see that the Genoa is quite in a good shape because when we were sailing downwind, the sails were actually set for, not for downwind because you cannot really set them for downwind. And the main has still, see, a great shape and it's great. So there's no need to do anything. So now we're gonna go another 20. Okay, so we're now getting close to 90 degrees apparent wind angle. So now probably the genoa is going to need a little bit tensioning, so let's see. Okay, we can see on the top the genoa, as you see, it's empty, it's fluffing. So now we have to pull the genoa sheet a little bit. So we're going to tighten, we're going to pull this rope, pull it in, and then the sail is going to catch the wind and get back in shape. Now a little bit more. So ideally, you want to have these tailtails straight, like both of them, which it's really hard to achieve with self-tacking, because what you have to set is the angle of pull here, right? So if I want to close the upper part of the sail, if it's open too much, I would have to pull the sail, you see, more here way, more down. So like, see, you cannot set. So the normal genoa would have a rail, and then you could set this angle here, and the sail will be pulled much more down, and you could close the upper part of the genoa. So right now we just do something by the feeling, something in between, but really cannot get both of the tailtails working as it should. So that's another problem of the self-tacking. Now let's take a look at the mainsail. See, mainsail. We could move a traveler a little bit. It's not bad, but you can see that like a little bit could be useful. So we're gonna move a traveler a little bit, like 30 centimeters. Yeah, more, until the line. There's a line, yeah, keep going. So is the speed increasing or not? Okay, so now the main, we tangented a little bit the main. Basically not tension, so we put it a little bit more like this. With the traveler, we didn't use the main sheet, because with the main sheet, you adjust the twist of the sail. The angle to the wind is adjusted with the traveler behind. So now let's check out how we're doing. Sorry?
True and died down a little bit. The speed over current staying constant.
So our speed is now 8.5, because having a parent wing, now it's actually 80 degrees, which is okay, that's all just fine. So we can see the winds here, the true wind and apparent. So this is kind of winds from the side, like 90 degrees, like plus and less. This is where you're gonna reach your highest speeds. You can see we're doing 8.5, 20 knots of speed, and it's still like we can have full sails. Now, if the winds are gonna increase like 25 apparent wind speed, we'll have to reef the mainsail, so to reduce the sail area and the pressure on the rig not to break anything. But 8.5 knots, it's 8.7, this is like really good, and actually this boat is going really nicely now. So we've been sailing downwind before, and now we have set the boat to sail with the side winds, which means we tension the sail a little bit more, we put the mainsail a little bit more in, and that's where we get the most of the speeds. So now we're gonna start sailing upwind. We're not gonna go sharp upwind, but like gently upwind. So let's go 20 degrees to the starboard. So now apparent wind angle is going to change from 58 to much less. Now let's see what happens to the sails. So you can see the top of the genoa is luffing. You say it's like fluff, 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 fluff. So we have to tension it. Yeah? So we're going to tension the genoa sheet, and then the sail is going to catch the wind again. You have to put more donuts because you have big forces. You see, you need like 2 more donuts here. Now 1 more, and then on the self tail. Exactly. Okay, so now we're tensioning the upper part. And okay, now we're back in shape. So with the mainsail, like the upper part could use a little bit more tensioning, so we're gonna put the traveler another 30 centimeters towards the center. So we're using this button and we're moving this. Okay? Okay? Now let's see what happened. Okay, so now it looks much better. So setting a mainsail, it's just, well, you want to have a nice flow and you want to have those lines in the back kind of sticking out. But basically the speed of the boat is going to also tell you a lot of fine adjustment of the angle. So what happened to our speed now? It actually dropped. So we're now doing 8 knots because we've said that the wind from the sides were the fastest. So we're now slightly upwind, which means also the speed drops. But now the apparent wind speed is higher because we are producing wind with our speed. So actually the sails now are feeling more wind than there actually is. But before, when we were sailing downwind, we were feeling less. So the apparent wind speed was lower than the true wind speed because we were going with the wind. Okay, let's go another 15 degrees upwind. And 5. Okay, so now we're gonna probably have to pull the genoa even more. Yeah, I have to tension more. You can see it's empty, it's fluffing. So we're pulling the sail in. Okay, it's looking good, yeah, perfect. And then we're gonna do the same with the main. We're gonna go a little bit more on the traveler. Okay, it's good. So we're now sailing even more sharp upwind. As you can see, our speed dropped even more because upwind it's less efficient than going with a side wind. And the apparent wind speed goes up because we're producing more wind because we're sailing towards the wind. It's a nice sailing day, huh? So in a case that the winds would get very strong, so you have to either reef. Reefing means putting the sail a little bit down, so that's how you put less pressure on the rig, and also because you decrease the surface area. Now you can do the same with this sail. You could either change everything for the smaller sail, or you can furl it a little bit. So these points here, you can see, these are like just the marks, so you would furl it until first reef or second reef. Now there's a catch with the mainsail. If I want to depower the boat, especially on a catamaran, like I get in a very huge gust, I could actually open, the traveler, move the sail much more out, which would really depower the sail. So the more wind would go through, past the sail would be less efficient, but also less power in the rig. So like I could, go through the gust. If that doesn't work, you have to really, reef the sail. And when do you reef? So with every boat you have tables which tell you how much reef for the strength of the wind. So now we're gonna tack, which means we wanna go to other direction. Tacking means going upwind. Jibing means going downwind. Now, tacking is kind of easier because when you jibe, you get a huge boom. Going upwind, the most important thing is to have enough speed not to stop upwind, okay? So what you do is, you want to start sailing kind of sharp upwind. So I'm gonna put more of this, this one guy is gonna go in the middle. So I have centered the main sheet. I'm gonna put a little bit more tension on the genoa. Because I really want to sail upwind, and I'm gonna change another 10 degrees upwind. So why I'm doing this, if I start tacking from, let's say, winds from 90, because the rudders are gonna go like this, and they're turning me, but they're also stopping me. And as I turn upwind, the sails, if I was before sailing, with winds from 90 degrees, are gonna fluff, so I have no more power. I'm turning the boat, but also stopping the boat, so I might lose the speed and not make it. So that's why I sail kind of sharp upwind, and there's much less, time the rudders are gonna be stopping the boat. So when I have enough speed, it's easy in the strong winds. If it's very light winds and you have just a couple knots of speed, it's more tricky. So I'm gonna take over now, so I'm gonna press standby, and I'm gonna do quite a fast, sharp turn. How much? I wanna have the same angle to the wind as before. Now, how do you know this? You see the waves? The waves are like this, and this is the angle. So you just wanna do the same to the other side, okay? I have the speed, I'm sailing upwind, I do quickly a lot. This is self-tacking, is gonna go alone, and the main just goes across because it's just... See, that's why people like self-tacking, because it's easy. Now I'm turning back. Okay, I set like the similar angle. Now the boat is speeding up, and as the boat speeds up, I have again more control with this. Okay? And then I'm gonna set it back to the wind autopilot. I could like manually go, but let's do this. And I can go back, let's say, to whatever angle I wanna go. I'm gonna set 55. Now it's true wind, although apparent wind should be here. So this was tacking, it's super easy. So it's important to sail upwind before you start doing it, especially if the winds are low and your speed is low. Then you have to turn the wheel. If you're gonna go slowly, you're not gonna make it. You have to go quickly. Now, how fast? You have to have a feeling for the rotation of the boat, right? It has to be like, makes sense, the practice does it, right? Once you've done it here, you go a little bit more, correct, and start sailing to the other side. Okay, so now I need a new person to do it, so I'll film it, and let's see what happens. So first set it to be more upwind. So actually you are. What is the apparent wind angle?
39 degrees.
Yeah, it's 39, so this is like upwind, so we're good. So you take standby and hand steer.
Right, but where I want to get to is 39 degrees.
On the other side,
On the other side.
but not 39. You want to go 50.
All right.
50, okay? Now first sail the boat. Now feel the boat first. Get the feeling. Keep the direction. Now, if you're not sure, you can check the apparent wind angle, which has to stay around 40. Before you turn, make sure there's no other boats around. Okay, we have the speed, we have the angle, so you can do a sharp left turn. So let's see what happens with the sails. The genoa goes across, and the main just goes across, so there's nothing to do if you have a self-tacking. Now keep going until you get to 50.
Yeah.
Yes, until it's 50.
Yeah.
Now, now straighten it. And now keep it 45. Apparent wind angle of 45. That was actually pretty good. I wanted to film how it's not supposed to be done, but that was really good. We'll do another one. Good. We need to film the error.
I'm gonna go, but I'm
Let's go.
gonna do it, right?
Let's go. So keep first the 45 degrees. And you're not supposed to watch the instrument all the time.
Okay.
You have to feel where the boat is going.
All right.
Feel the rotation. Feel if it's going straight. See, now you're going too much right.
Yeah, I feel it.
The angle is now 53, 56. Now very gently you want to come up. It's not a car.
Yeah.
Little by little, feel the boat. Have the control.
Here it goes.
Yeah, we're now 55, so we're going to slowly climb to 45 degrees.
And what do I want on the other side? 45, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. There we are. Close.
Yeah, let's go 45. Okay, you have a control of direction, that's good. Check the boats around.
No boats around. I saw big
We have a speed. So you want to turn to the other side to the 50 and then come back to 45. Okay, so turn a lot and quick. Sharp. A lot. Okay, don't break it. That's the maximum. The Genoa coming across. Okay. Until it's 50. Okay, come back. Now get the control over the direction. See, you don't want to fall down, no up. Get the control. Now we have 75. Now slowly climb, but very slowly to 45. Very slowly. Keep the control. This is too fast. Very slowly, little by little. Okay. Almost there. So we have the winds from behind again. So we're kind of sailing downwind. We're slowly going towards our anchorage because the sun's gonna fall. Also the winds are dropping because these are day winds, and with the sun, they go to sleep also. Now, when you're sailing downwind, it's always dangerous to do a jibe, which would be, uncontrolled. Because you would go more downwind and the sails would flap here and you can break everything. Now, how do you know when you get very close? Of course, you can watch the instruments, like when the apparent wind is gonna come very close or go over. Okay, but this is really like, we wanna do it better. So the first indicator is that the Genoa is gonna lose wind, because when you go really downwind and the wind's gonna come from behind, a Genoa is gonna get in the shade of the main wind, so it's gonna lose the wind. Looking from here, so here's the sail. If the wind is gonna be directly from behind, you see, the Genoa is not gonna get anything, so it's gonna collapse. So now we're gonna demonstrate this, and this is the first sign that you are very downwind, and very soon the mainsail might jibe and break everything. So let's go little by little downwind until the Genoa loses wind. Okay? So we're like little by little going down. We can also observe this apparent wind angle. 147, probably around 155 we'll get in the first trouble, 160 definitely. Okay, you see?
Yeah, it's already.
Yeah, let's go more. Let's go more. This is still safe.
Okay.
We can go a little bit more, 5 more degrees. So now you see,
Oh, yeah.
now this is the sign that if you keep turning there, you're gonna get in big trouble. Okay? Now you shouldn't confuse this with sail losing air going upwind. Okay? So now we're gonna go back slowly upwind. And so now we have the wind, but if you keep going upwind, you can go a little bit faster now. The same is going to happen to Genoa. It's actually not the same. It's very different, but it's going to lose the wind. So you shouldn't confuse these two. Now let's keep going up. Keep going up. And now we mostly have to watch to the forward edge of the sail. This is going to go start backing. Yeah, keep turning, keep turning. We have to go quite a lot more, like 30 degrees more. And now it's safe. There's no danger, so just keep turning. Okay, now we have the first signs, especially on the top of the sail. You see? If we continue, then this is going to spread lower and lower. Keep going upwind. Keep going. Okay, so it's getting more and more up there. Keep going. More. So we can see that the Genoa is losing air. Let's go more. Okay, so we see that the sail is kind of empty, and if we continue all the way upwind, the whole sail is going to be flapping. Okay, let's go downwind now so we don't lose the speed. So we just see that in both cases the Genoa does the trouble. but it's very different, right? When you go downwind, it kind of loses air, flaps. When you go upwind, it kind of starts, you know, vibrating and doing something. So genoa is a good indicator that, you know, you're doing something different, or, you know, it's a good warning for something. So now we want to put the sails down because we're going to anchor down there. Now, how do you furl a genoa? So, well, it's very easy. You'll have to release like the sheet of the genoa, and you're going to have to pull the furling line. So just like opposite as we did earlier, right? So we're going to pull this rope, you see, which is going to furl the sail. But to do that, we'll have to release that line. But it's a little bit more tricky. Now, most of the people I see would turn upwind and do these two lines, which is not the best option, because turning upwind is going to increase the apparent wind, and the sail is going to be fluffing a lot. You're going to need much more force to furl it, and it's not going to furl nicely. So why would you do that? So much better option is turn downwind. So we're sailing now downwind, and the sailing downwind, first we're going to open, actually we have to set these two lines first, right? So we're going to put, we need this one free, and we're going to put, this is the furling line that goes around to the drum, and we're just going to set it here on this winch. You do it like many times. Put many, very nicely. Now, this is a very strong winch and it's a very thin line. So whenever you did this, you don't want to force things, right? It has to go gently.
More?
It's okay.
This is the one, right?
We open this. Okay, so we open now the stopper, and now you're gonna gently release the sail. If you have too much donuts, you have no control. Not enough donuts is gonna burn your hands. Keep more. Like, that's why gloves are important. Now slowly release.
And as I do that, and I feel
Yeah, so wait, release more. You see, release as much as possible so that the sail is gently fluffing. See, so the sail is now, yeah, you can keep going, keep opening the sail. Okay, see, now there's not much forces. So now you're gonna furl the black line, and you have to keep feeding, you know, there should be no pressure. Okay, so let's go. You have, yeah, then you stop. You say stop if it's tangled, you see?
Stop.
You have to work together. So this is the spaghetti. So that's why the preparation is the key number one. Or just close the stopper or self-tacking, yeah? That's good. Let's get the rope ready. And then eventually you're gonna have to put less donuts because otherwise it's not gonna go, right? Now watch the sail and make it nice. At certain point you have to control the line. So you can see now the sail is really furling very nicely. And there's very little force because we're doing it kind of downwind. And the same thing is for opening. Most of the people I know will go upwind, open the genoa, fla. No, you just want to do it downwind, and that's like the good way to do it. Yeah. Okay, stop. Now close the stopper from the genoa. Pull it gently. A little bit more. Okay, so we tighten this. And that's it. Okay, now we're gonna set everything to put down the mainsail. So to put down the mainsail, we'll have to start the engine first. Then we're gonna have to turn the boat upwind. So for the mainsail, the only way to put it down is to go upwind, because otherwise it's just gonna be a mess. So we're gonna start an engine, we're gonna turn upwind towards the sun, and then slowly release the main halyard. Now, before you release the main halyard, make sure that the boom lift, that's the rope that keeps the boom from crashing down to the roof, it's tangent just right. So I have preset it, but if you have loosened it, you have to tangent it back to the original position, otherwise you're going to crash it to the roof. And then we want to center the main traveler. So this is great on this boat because you can just press the button, and this system is really good. Okay, we've centered. Now we turn upwind. We're gonna release now the main halyard, but it's very hard to open the stopper because it's under pressure. Because we don't want to force this, we're gonna put the rope first on the winch, and using the handle, we're gonna apply a little bit of pressure. Okay, apply a little bit of pressure, just enough, more. So there's two speeds. If you go the other way, it's gonna be easier. See, okay?
Okay, yeah.
And now there's no more pressure here, now you can easily open it. Okay, now we remove the handle because we don't need the handle. Okay, are we upwind?
No.
Let's go upwind, we're downwind.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're gonna release this line, and it's very smart to make this thing spaghetti. You see, it's all going tangled.
all tangled.
So you have to prepare before we go down. So now we're upwind because you can see the mainsail has no power, it's just flapping. Now we are not upwind. To correct. Getting the spaghetti organized. So we're gonna release the main halyard. At the same time, we have to pull the fin line,
Yep.
which is gonna pull the sail down later. So let's pull, see, take a look first at the fin line. Take a look first at the fin line.
Yep.
Why is it so loose? Okay. So now it would be much better that he would set an autopilot and help you with this one.
Yeah.
So driving these boats upwind at low speeds is the best done with the autopilots.
Just drive in.
And rather use another person to gently pull the line that pulls the sail down, but you don't want to apply too much force, it's just to help it in the last meters, while the other person is gonna release the main halyard. Now, she's doing good because she has her hands far away. If you go too close, you can get your finger stuck. So now the sail is coming down slowly.
I'm pulling in as much as you're letting out.
Yeah, and we can go way faster.
So I can take one
You
off.
can take one donut if it depends from the force. Yeah. Okay, one more donut probably. Okay, and let's go. You can go faster.
No, I've got a little bit of a...
You have a little bit of spaghetti mess because
It's going.
so this line is definitely shouldn't be here, but that's how we learn. Okay, let's go. And now the sail is coming down, and this is why this is called a lazy jack. So all this black thing and the lines, it's a lazy jack because in the old days the sail would flop down, and then you have to put it back up. But lazy jack does it for you, so it just falls in and keeps the sail there, and everything is very easy with this. So now we're getting the sail down. We could do this way faster, so this is way too slow. Mostly because we're not organized and we have a huge spaghetti. So preparation is the thing. So when you get in a problem, close the stopper.
Close the stopper, the red one. Thank you.
And now organize the rope. That's exactly.
Holy.
It's all about the good preparation. Okay, we made it. So now we're ready, so we can keep going.
Okay, so you're gonna release the stopper?
So now we're opening the stopper again.
Yeah.
And we continue, but let's go faster now. So now the small line, you're not supposed to pull. She's supposed to lower the sail, you're supposed to follow. And then in the last part, when this is not possible, then you pull. Yeah? So there's a little bit sail left up because in the last section you should go really quickly to have inertia. So this is the point where we pull, but right now you're making it harder for him. So we have to pull it all the way off so that he can pull the sail like the last meters. Okay, very good. That's it. We close the stopper. And we stop the small line. You put the small line into the stopper also. Now we're gonna pull the main sheet because this boom is gonna crash somebody's hand. So let's pull the main sheet. And the main sheet is this rope. And we're gonna pull it just by hand. The main sheet. No, it's not the main sheet. Now we're pulling the main sheet.
Right.
And this is gonna tighten the sail. Okay. And now we're gonna turn downwind to our direction and then we're gonna finish. So we have turned the boat downwind now because this is the way to reduce the apparent wind speed. It's also where we're going. And now the boat is much more stable because we're not going against the wind. So now we can finish packing the mainsail. So what we have to do is pull the halyard down and hook it around this cleat so that it's not gonna bang and lift the sail in case we get really strong winds during the night. So the second person should assist with releasing the stoppers and everything so that the person on the mast can pull the halyard down. Otherwise we cause wear and tear. So now we're gonna hook the halyard around the Okay, so the halyard is hooked here, and now we're gonna close this thing so nothing gets stuck. And now we're gently gonna tension the halyard just by hand, very gently. So if you tension it too much, it's gonna be like a string crashing into your mast. So it has to be, just a little bit, just enough. To prevent the boom from going left and right and left and right, we have this special rope here, which we're gonna put it through this loop. So the boom is not gonna go left and rough, it's gonna be more quiet and not cause any wear and tear. And then we're gonna put these lines, which are the reefing lines, in. And of course you have always to close the lazy jack to prevent the UV destroying your sail, and then you're good to go. We are tied to the buoy, and tying a catamaran to the buoy can be actually very challenging. Mostly because these cleats, this is not original, that's what we added. Usually you just get this cleat. Now, if you do what we've done here, so there's one rope, loops through, goes back, another rope from the other side, goes around, loops, goes back, everything is fine. If you do the same going on this one, then the line is gonna go around and up there, and you're gonna get a crazy sounds inside the boat. You won't be able to sleep in this cabin and also not probably in that one. It just does It's really terrible. So we've added these ones, and look how easy it is now to, you see, tie to the buoy. And I don't understand why this is not done originally. You see? It's gonna, now time is gonna show, maybe it's really a weak spot. We're gonna pull out everything, but okay, it's easy to repair it, just, like a fiberglass. But this is a really good thing to have here, It's great to have this cleat. We have a great solar panels on this boat, and already now in the morning we are getting around 220 watts, which is really good. And basically now on this boat we have zero problems. We just have normal, acid batteries, nothing fancy, expensive lithium. But just like normal batteries, and with all the fridges, with everything, we just keep them over 85% all the time. It never drops less, because these solar panels are just so effective and so good. Let's find the solar panels. It's a beautiful morning here in Croatia, and I just love this island. It's like a remote Robinson island, and it's early season, so there's only 2 boats in this bay. So you can see it's early morning, the sun is not very high yet, and we're already getting loads of power on these solar panels. So right now they're positioned really well, but generally like this is a really good position for solar panels. Some people put them on the roof, whatever, but then it's in the shade of the lazy jack all the time. So I find this position really good, and we're getting a lot of power mostly. And I really like this, the time will tell, but this is sun beam system. And they're really cool because you can walk on them, and they kind of look nice. And the good thing is, sometimes these solar panels has these plastic models where the cables go out, so they're sticking out, and it's very easy, to crash the hook. But these ones are just, you see, smooth, there's just nothing. And I would say it actually looks pretty cool. Doesn't even look like it's a solar panel. And this is one of the best systems I've ever had for lifting up a dinghy. So there's a button, this is like a really cool winch. And all you do is just lift it up. Now you gotta be careful because these ropes can get tangled around anything from the engine. Easy to break it. And then you gotta watch see if it's like swinging, you don't crash the propeller into the boat. And then you don't want to overdo it. So once it touches, you have to really stop. You don't want to keep going because probably break something. But really cool system and easy. So now just go one by one, a little by little. Check. Okay, perfect. We have safety. And then we close this guy also. Put the rope away. And then if you go into the very big waves, it's pretty stable now, left and right, but then we just take this rope and attach it here to the rail. And then, it's very stable, and the same on the front, there's another rope, and then the dinghy is really stable. Another thing you should never forget is, especially if there's rain, but it's the best just to do it every time, is you open this plug, because in case there is rain, or you're just like out of habit of opening this, it's gonna fill up with water and break everything, and that's what many people forget. So just open it every time, and when you go in, close it. Although it's not necessary, but it's just nice weather, but just get the habit. Well, let's start the water maker. So we can actually run it via inverter, but we want to have both engines running. So I'm gonna put the pump on, and I keep inverted out, so because the water quality, which means salinity, so you don't want to go directly to the tank. And now very gently you want to increase the pressure. If you do this too quickly, then the membrane just will destroy it eventually. It's not gonna last so long. So you really want to gently increase this pressure until you get to this dark green. This is just a feed pump, so this is just bringing the water from the sea to the water maker, just helping to bring it there. And this is the high pressure pump pressure, which I'm slowly gonna rise. Now here, this is how much water I'm making, liters per hour or gallons per hour. So I'm now slowly increasing this. They say like in a minute, I don't know. Well, it's most important that you go very gradually. And then you can see the water quality, it's a red. So once it turns green, that means that the salinity is good enough to go into the tanks. So now we bring it here to the dark green. And never go red because you might put too much pressure on the membrane, destroy it. Now there's one thing, if you are in a semi-fresh water, you know, not so salty, and you do even dark green, you're probably going to damage the membrane. So keep it, you know, much less pressure if there's fresh water. Also, if you're doing any rinse, you know, because they have flush, you have auto flush here with the fresh water from the tanks, and be careful that chlorine can really destroy this membrane. So either have some filters that like put it away, or just you know, never use the water from the marina and always use just water maker, so there's not going to be any chlorine where when you're auto flushing. Now the water quality is green, which means the salinity is good. And now we divert to the tank, and now we're doing around 120 liters per hour. This pressure you have to check here and there. Now sometimes you know, it will go more and less after it's running for a while, but okay, looks good for now. Let's close this. So we have just raised the sails, and today we have very light wind. So we want to sail upwind, which is up there. So the question is how to do this the most efficiently. Now, everybody thinks that, you know, the catamaran shouldn't be pointing like very like tight up as a monohull, and it's better to go less and have more speed. Well, it doesn't work. Like from my experience on the cruising catamarans, you really want to go sharp, you know, like 35, like the maximum you can go, and very slowly, point high, and eventually you're going to get up there higher. And that was proven on many regattas. So you don't want to have like a lot of speed, what people think, maybe the racing catamarans, but you really want to go sharp upwind. Now, we're going to have to tension the sails appropriately because we really want to go, you know, sharp upwind. And now we really want to make those telltales work for us. So we're going to tension this rope, and this is going to pull the sail down, and the upper part is going to close a little bit, you know, give us a little bit more power in the low winds. Now, if you have strong winds, you just want to do the opposite, open, you know, and let the air out, and that's how you depower the boat, you know, and regain control. You know, when you start turning this, you're not sure, did anything move? You know, you might not see it immediately. So the best thing is to keep your finger here, and then you're going to notice if it's moving and how much it moves. So I'll be here, so let's go a little bit. Yeah, just keep turning it. You see, because right now you're okay, it's slowly going, yeah. A little more. A little more. Oh, stop, stop, stop. So now we observe what happened.
Yeah.
You see, this is the part which should get a little bit better.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes time, you know. Okay, let's do another turn. Okay, stop, stop. And then, so it's the process, yeah, it looks now good. So let's put the halyard off and tension the jib back so we get control on the helm. So now you can see that this part, see, it's much nicer, it's much firmer. And also it's not pulling the sail out from here where it would damage it. But it's, you know, that's how the sail should be. Now sail with the time will stretch. This is the tacking. So the sail itself stretches, so it will need tensioning with some time. But be aware that when the winds get strong, depending from the type of the boat, how flexible it is, and how much loop the stay can get, also affects this. And if you get those, you see on the sail, those, you know, marks in this direction, make sure you release the halyard. That happens in a strong winds. So we've said before that this line in the furler, you see, has to be gently tensioned. I'll show you why. Because if it's loose, it can really quickly get, you know, in between here. So right now, you see, it's just right. You don't want to over-tension it, because if it's over-tensioned, you see, then you're basically already furling the sail and you're like putting too much stress on this line. So it has to be just, you know, just right. So now I have opened the stopper. So let's say you left it like this. You see, all this line would get kind of, you know, everything would be loose and ugly, and even worse. You see, and then it can get in here, and when the sail is moving, it can pop off, you see, very easily. You see this? this is a bad design, and this keeps happening. And then when you pull, you see, or if it's especially on this side, see, it's gonna be even better here. So if this happens on this side, and then you pull, and it might drop here down also. You see, it's gonna go under, and you're just gonna make damage. So this is a really bad design of this rigging system. So that's why we keep tension. And also when releasing, opening the sail, you need to make nice, you know, these loops. And that's what you do with, you know, gently releasing the sail, not just letting the rope out and unfurling the sail. So you really have to look at this. So let's tension now. So we're now gonna pull it. You see, just gently, just enough, you see, to stay in place. And the rest of the water maker, like it can be anywhere. On this boat, it's here. And it's, yeah, kind of a okay position, so as an engine. So this is the high pressure pump. So this is, you know, like, you know, just an engine, you know, pushing the water. This is the filter, and this is another filter. Seems like this is also against the chlorine. At least that's what I heard, that's what it said. Now the membrane itself is here. So the membrane is very fine mesh where the water goes through, and then only H2O can go through. Everything else is rejected and goes back to the water. So basically this is putting a lot of pressure, pushing the water through this membrane here, and then whatever goes through the membrane goes to water tanks, and the very salty water, then everything else is rejected to the sea. Yeah, I really like how the dinghy is now kind of low, and we're using those two ropes, you know, to prevent going left and right. So there's another thing, you know, we've talked about the plug you have to open, and another thing is the sun. So let's say the dinghy was in the water and it was really bad weather, so it was cold and you had to inflate it more. And then the sun comes, heats up the air, and these tubes get really, really, really hard. And that was the thing with this boat. So when we got this boat beginning of the week, it was kind of bad weather, there was no sun, and the boat was already pumped a lot. And then when the sun came, you see, I had to release the pressure just on the valve, you know, let some air out. So now, you see, on the sun, it's not too hard, because, you know, you don't want to have too much pressure. It's just, you know, eventually gonna damage it. And this Yamaha engine, this is just great. It's just, you know, butterly smooth, so much power. This is so much better than Honda. It's like if you're buying a boat for yourself, you know, just get the Yamaha. No questions asked. You know, these screws here, they just unscrew. There's no Loctite. Then everything pops out, you know, it's really bad design. So, but the duct tape, you know, it looks good. It does the job. It is down there. And when you're sailing upwind, you obviously have to zigzag. Now, it takes much longer, of course. We cannot go straight, but we go a little bit here, a little bit there. And actually on this chart, we can see our track. So it's our boat, we're leaving this track. So this is how we went. Actually, we can check everything for today. So we came from here and then tacked. See, and zigzag like a Zora, like zigzag, 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 zigzag. And that's how it is. If the wind would be, you know, like from behind, we would just go directly. Now, if we had a dagger boards, or we would be a monohull with a deep keel, we could have, you know, like much more, you know, like at a bigger angle, you know, these zigzags. But because we're a catamaran, we have a lot of sideways drift. Not because it's a catamaran, it's because it's a cruising catamaran and we don't have any dagger boards or a deep keel. So a deep keel, you know, like it's deep and thin keel, on a monohull prevents you from going sideways much more efficiently than this kind of long, shallow keel that we have on a catamaran. So it has nothing to do with the catamaran monohull. It's just that, you know, the catamarans are built, these cruising ones, you know, to be shallow draft and to be easy to operate. You know, you could have these dagger boards which go up and down like Outremer or Katana has, and that would, you know, improve performance a lot. But again, you can break them. You know, this is not meant for charter boats. So we are not sailing very efficiently upwind. The monohulls are, you see, everybody's, you know, past us. But you know, it's not about it's about the trip. It's not about the speed, of course. And it's we still made a really good progress. So we've been sailing all day upwind, and we made very decent progress. So there's nothing to complain about. Although me personally, I would love to have some dagger boards. You know, it would be just more performance. So now we're tacking. Now you can see, because the sail is full button, you know, it has to go like punk, and it's gonna happen when you get enough wind. Not yet. Like bang, you see, now it gets a shape. And these full buttons, you know, they keep more like a wing shape, you know, it's much more, how to say, firm shape, you know, it's better for sailing. And I kind of like it. Why I am a really big fan of these fat fenders. So let's say this is a pier, of course this is a boat. Now if you only have these fenders and the boat is moving up and down, it's only gonna scratch, you see. See, it cannot really move, it's gonna like scratch. Now if you have this fat one, the boat is gonna roll, you see. So it's gonna be much more silent inside, and you're not gonna damage the boat and the fender. So whenever you go, you know, sideways to the piers or even the boat, you know, anything, you really want to have these fat ones, and they're just superior to the thin ones. The thin ones are because they take, you know, less space. If it's calm, it's okay, you know, but like the big guys, very important. We have 4 of them, you see. One is here, and it's really good because these fat ones keep a bigger distance, and they're way more useful. And also, when you put them behind to protect the boat, you put it here on this corner, and when reversing to marina, it does miracles. You know, you're not gonna crash your boat. If you put the thin one, you know, it's much thinner, so like, you know, it's not as good. Okay, so let's see. Shot number 1. See, he actually made it. So this was his first try. And if you do it correctly, it's so easy, you see? Okay, it got a little bit like here because it's kind of sharp. It's very old, this one. But hey, good job, you see? The first try. And this is not, you see, this is like, wow, it's like 3.5 meters away. And in the first shot. Very good, very good. So we're gonna leave this dock now. So how do you do? The first thing is you question yourself, where is the wind coming from? So the wind is coming from there, so it's pushing us away from the pier, and that's the easiest. Then you want to check for any swimmers, boats, you know, shallows, make sure you're clear. Also make sure there's no like a boat coming in, because you're gonna think about your ropes, just make sure there's nobody coming in. And then, because the wind is gonna push us away, all we have to do is release both lines. Ideally at the same time, or very quickly one, and then very quickly another one. And then we're just gonna, you know, slide out and then just go forward and out. So this is the easiest way. So why quickly the rope? So let's just say you're gonna put this one off, and then you're gonna take a break before you put that one off. So the boat is gonna swing, now the bow is gonna get pushed off with the wind. Now this is not gonna go off the wind, right? So the boat's gonna swing, and you're gonna crash your corner into the pier if you don't have fenders on anything. So that's why, especially when you have very strong winds, when you release one rope, this is gonna happen very quickly. So ideally you have 2 persons doing it, one each rope, or there's one person, you really have to like prepare everything, do one rope and then immediately another one. When I'm saying prepare, you don't want to have any spaghetti here, right? You want to come here, organize, make sure you know how it's tied, so that when you come here, you can do it quickly. Okay, captain is ready, engines are started. We have checked for the swimmers, for the boaters. Always check behind for the ropes. You see, there's a couple of ropes. I want to get this in a propeller. We have a crew member ready, so whenever the captain says, after the captain drinks his coffee, of course, a tea. Oh, yeah.
Cast off.
Okay, so we're putting one line off. Now there's a danger, he's hurrying. So he could forget to securely put the line here. So like it could still be hanging and then it could fall in the water, he would forget, the rope would get in the propeller. So always secure the line after you take it off. He already prepared earlier, he knows how it's tied, so that's why he is really quick. See, this is the small mistake he's doing because he could take off the shorter part, undo, and then he could pull less rope around, right? Because on the other side there's 5 meters more for the rope. So that's how he did it much quicker. And then he's gonna remove the line all the way from the cleat and just throw it under the table. And then he's gonna go forward to remove the other line. Because you're gonna be surprised that if you leave a rope like this, thinking it's all good, well, it eventually finishes in the water. So just take the line, just drop it somewhere. You're gonna coil it later, but make sure always remove down from the cleat. So we can see right now we start moving away. The wind is just pushing us. So this is a really easy undocking. And then as soon as we're gonna feel we're good, then we're gonna go engines forward.
How much?
Now put the other one. Okay, now look forward. And then when you're gonna start turning, so we have this sharp corner.
Yeah, I wait till I get out.
Yeah. So you're. So very often when you're doing this, then suddenly somebody starts coming in because you didn't see him, and then you have a problem. So now we go rather full left.
Yeah, when you're halfway, yeah.
Quickly, you have to go quickly, and the right engine give quite a lot of push. Give push. Give more push. Keep it pushing, because this push is gonna swing you very quickly. If you would go slowly, okay, now it's enough, right? So you can put more throttle on both engines and just sail away. See, that was really easy. So the key is, if you're gonna go very slowly with the throttle, the boat is not gonna turn quickly. You just push it and then you get the rotation, and then it's very easy to go out. Even in very strong winds, it just works. Now our fenders are dragging, so that's why we don't wanna pick up too much speed. We have to go very slowly, because we can just pull the rail off. So bye bye beautiful bay, we'll be back. So for the fenders I only use this knot, so this is, I don't know what's the English word, and you do this, and this is gonna hold. You could do a safety one, so another one here, or you could do another one here. Now, definitely, and this is gonna be okay, we're never gonna lose a fender. Never ever do what some people do and it looks like this. So you never ever do this, because very quickly you lose it. So, and many people do this. I really get gray hair when people do this. This is terrible. Now when you're doing it on a big rail, like here, you do the same knot. It seems okay, but eventually it's gonna start slipping. So you must do a safety one here. Definitely. It looks like it's gonna hold, but it won't. So you definitely need a safety on this one.